are Hunter's mom and dad. We are so excited to be here today. We are going to tell you a little bit about our family and this very special wheelchair that Hunter's dad gets around in. Now, we're very curious. Touch your nose if anyone has seen a wheelchair in person before. Ooh, okay, that's quite a few of you. And you know what? That makes sense, because pretty much anyone can be in a wheelchair. Sometimes grandmas and grandpas use a wheelchair or a walker to get around as their bodies get older and don't work quite like they used to. You can let go of your noses now. Sometimes even young kids like yourself might be in a wheelchair if they get hurt, or maybe they're just born slightly different. Now, Hunter's daddy has been in a wheelchair for about 9 years because he hurt his back and his legs don't work quite like they used to. Now, some of you might be curious, how come his legs don't work like they used to if he hurt his back? So, you all look like a very smart group of kindergartners, so we're going to give you a real quick science lesson on our amazing human body. Okay, now, this colorful picture right here, who knows what this is in the center of our head? That's right, everyone, that's our brain. This is the most important part of your entire body, which is why whenever we ride a bike or a scooter or maybe ski on a mountain, we always wear a helmet, right?
Oh,
because we have to protect our brains. Now, there's an equally important part. It's a long tube that runs down our back. I want everyone to try saying this with me. Spinal cord.
Spinal cord.
Very, very good. So the spinal cord runs down our back, and it's protected by some bones called vertebrae. Maybe if you feel down the back, your own back, you can feel the bones. That's protecting the long tube called the spinal cord. Now guess what? We're going to have tons of time to answer questions at the end. So why don't you remember your questions, and then Hunter's daddy will answer any questions you have at the end. Okay, so the brain and the spinal cord. They are responsible for every single thing your body does. It's like the brain is your control center, and it's like the world's fastest computer that never stops working. It sends messages up and down your spinal cord all day long to move or how we feel. Now, if something happens to this spinal cord, it interrupts the messages. Messages can't go up and down to our body anymore. So when Hunter's daddy hurt his back right about here, it blocked the messages going from his brain that tell his legs to move. So that's why it's really important to always take care of our bodies and wear helmets and all sorts of protective gear, because our bodies are very strong, but the brain and the spinal cord are also fragile, and we always need to protect our wonderful bodies. Okay, now, before Hunter's daddy tells you about how he got hurt and what it's like to be in a wheelchair, we are going to show you a quick family movie. Now, you have 3 jobs during this movie. First of all, I want you to watch and look for parts that you say, wow, I didn't know someone in a wheelchair could do that. Number 2, I want you to watch and say, hey, that's just like my family, except we do it a little differently. And then number 3, I want you to look for parts and go, hey, that is exactly like my family. Okay?
To be is a little poster board which has some pictures, and I'm just going to tell you guys just a day in the life for me, how my day works in the wheelchair. So I wake up in the morning and I always try and exercise because I want to stay fit, because there's a lot of people working, scientists, to figure out how to fix my injury. Right now they're not able to fix me yet, but eventually they will be. And when they are, I want to make sure that I'm in good shape so I can start walking again.
And maybe even in this room.
Could be in this room.
Some scientists, researchers, or doctors to help us here.
Yeah. So after I get up, I take a shower, I get dressed, I get in my car and I go to work. And some of you are probably wondering, how do I drive if my legs don't work? I have a little thing called a hand control in my car, so I actually use my hand, my right hand, to do the gas and the brake, and it's pretty cool. It enables me to drive a car just like anybody else. And then after that, I go into my office and I work, and then after work, I come home and I play with Hunter and Kellen and Christopher, and we play catch or drive RC cars, scooters, bikes, and then at night, we always read books before we go to bed.
Who reads book with their parents before bed? Yeah, so just like our family, huh?
And then of course, we say a prayer and thank God for all the things that we have, my beautiful family and everything else. And that's it. So we're gonna open up for questions now. Does anybody have any questions? You first.
My mom has did swimming with dolphins before.
Oh wow, yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. I recommend it. Do you have a question?
Yeah, there's a few parts that there was like 3 places that I've been to before.
Wow,
That was a comment.
that's cool.
A question is something that you ask that you want to find out the answer. A comment is when you tell a story of something that you know.
What does it feel like being in a wheelchair?
That's a
Beautiful
good question.
question.
Really good question.
Good question.
It feels kind of like riding a bike. You know, because you roll around, you can go pretty fast. The thing about being in a wheelchair you have to be mindful of is your environment. So when I'm going places, there's some places I just can't get to because of things like stairs. But it's amazing what I can do in a wheelchair, and I'll show you guys some of the tricks that I use. I don't know if everyone can see me, but one of the really important things we do is wheelies. So we have to pull our wheels up so we can get over little bumps or cracks or curbs. So wheelies are a really important part. I also have a motor that I use on the back of my wheelchair that enables me to go up steep hills and go really long distances without having to push a ton. I didn't bring that today, but that's a really cool thing too.
I want to ask, who here has seen those special parking spots that are painted blue? Has anyone seen those? They have a picture of a wheelchair. Okay, those are really, really, really important for people in wheelchairs because they're called handicap spots. And I want you guys to remind all your moms and dads that even if they're pulling in for just a minute, to never use the blue wheelchair spots because they're very important for people in wheelchairs who have to open their vans or their doors wide and assemble a wheelchair outside of the car. And sometimes they even have a ramp that comes out of their van so they can wheel up and down. And if that spot's not available, the person in a wheelchair just can't park anywhere. So it's really important to never, even just for a minute, park in those special blue spots.
Very true. You have a question?
How can you get over a big, tall bump?
So some bumps I can get over, some bumps I can't. Sometimes I need help. Sometimes I need somebody to help me kind of get over stuff as far as lifting me up. It's pretty amazing how many things I can get over though, given that my legs don't work and I have to use the wheelchair. The nice thing about living in the United States is that they have something called the American Disability Association, and they make it so businesses and schools and other places have accessibility to people in wheelchairs. So it really helps me, because a long time ago, if you were in a wheelchair, you couldn't go a lot of places, but that's changed.
And I have one final point. The reason we wanted to show you all different things in the videos is because we wanted to surprise you with some things you probably didn't know that Hunter's daddy could do. But we also wanted to show you a lot of things that you probably like doing with your own families. And if you take away one thing from this whole talk today, it's that we want you to remember that people in wheelchairs, no matter if they get around a little differently or not, we all have the same emotions on the inside. And we enjoy doing the same thing with our families, and we feel all the same on the inside. So if you see someone in a wheelchair, maybe now you'll feel a little more comfortable to go up to them and say hi and realize that they're probably like doing just the same things that you like to do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you for sharing your family moments with us. It's very moving.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks
What a
for coming.
wonderful audience. Thank
Yeah,
you so
you
much.
guys were awesome.